guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Casey.
I'm Andrea.
And today we're going to talk about one of our favorite destinations, El Salvador, which is Andrea's home country.
We wanted to mention a few spots that were one of our most absolute favorite spots. We've been down there a few times already and really excited to share this video with you.
But first, where is El Salvador? So El Salvador is part of Central America. It's actually the smallest country in the smallest country in Central America. And to the north is Guatemala, and then to the east is Honduras. And then to the west, it's got Pacific coastline, which is beautiful.
One of our absolute favorite places to visit is always the beach. I know it's not Casey's favorite because of the wheelchair sometimes, but we do.
Sand is so tough sometimes.
We make the best of it and just find ways around it. And one of the number one spots is located at the Department of La Libertad. So,
and departments in El Salvador are kind of like states here in the U.S. It's how they divide the countries.
And one of the towns that's one of the most popular is Puerto de la Libertad, where you can find so many things to do here. We definitely recommend more than one day to spend here.
It's actually a great surfing destination, and they do a lot there. The surf is great. It's a great place to learn to surf. I know when my family came down and visited one time, my brother and sister actually learned to surf, and it's super cheap there too. I remember my brother saying he got his board rental and an instructor for like half a day for I think like $20.
Yeah, super cheap, and so you'll find a lot of things actually in El Salvador to be very affordable. And being right by the coast, you can find many restaurants and local shops that are selling just fish and seafood just fresh out of the water.
I love seafood. It's a great place to go. There's this one restaurant we visit a lot that actually is kind of built up on a cliff above the beach where you can watch the surfers do their thing and eat some great seafood, some mariscos.
Yeah. Definitely. So you'll find a lot of typical dishes with the fresh seafood. Beyond that, there's a famous port that was one of the first ports that was built in El Salvador. And this port's now used. There's little boats, like fishermen boats.
Yeah, it's a great kind of like, I like going there because you get to see the local fishermen bringing in their catches. And they're not like the big kind of boats that sometimes you see here in the States that they use for fishing. They kind of look like they're open. There's no cabins on them or anything. They look like really big canoes, and they usually have like outboard motors that they steer with their hands. But it's great to see. And then they pick them up with these big winches right up onto the pier, and then unload all the fish right out of the boat. It's really fun to see, really cool to see.
So free and fun stuff to do, actually. Right. The fish that's coming right off there, a lot of those fishermen will sell it. And the pier's really long. We'll put a picture up here about that. Along the line of the pier, you find a lot of sellers, just local sellers that are not just for seafood, but also from local crafts. You can buy like necklaces, things. What else would you say? And
like bags and things like that. And just like sometimes they'll sell like shot glasses or something like that have all been hand painted.
If you're willing to bear with the fish smell, because it does smell fishy,
it does smell.
And it's a fish market, so you do see things on the ground. It's bearable. We manage with it, but if you're willing to go through that, it's worth visiting.
And then also in the area too, there's a lot of bars and shops, and if you're gonna stay down in that area too, there's a lot of hostels. It's a great spot or a big spot for tourists and people coming in from all other different countries that kind of congregate down there and go to the nightlife and stuff like that. The next place we want to talk about is Sonsonate department, and that's also near the coastline. But these beaches are a lot more calm, and it's a great place to do some kayaking and maybe some snorkeling. And also in this area they have a lot of beach resorts and like all-inclusive resorts kind of thing. So if you're going to visit and you want a place to go that the sand is soft and the sunsets are beautiful and there's some more kind of lower key things to do, this is a great place to visit. Andrea and I love the sea kayaking. We do that quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, when I get to the water, to get down through the sand and stuff can be a real challenge. It can be challenging sometimes, but actually once you get in the water is beautiful. It's super warm. And you don't have to worry about being cold or wearing a wetsuit or anything like that. And great to do, like I said, snorkeling. There's a lot of beautiful sea life to see. And then the kayaking too.
No, it's not like these beaches are accessible. There's a path to go down to. Some will have it, but it's not like you could find here in Florida. We've heard of some accessible beaches here, but the local locals are very friendly.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we've been so creative, in different ways to get Casey down there, from him staying on his chair and people helping him push down. It's, it's not fun. It takes a while. It's such a workout, and he's already sweating, but ready to get into the water.
Yeah.
Or, there's other ways to do it. Like you sit on the kayak, and then between a bunch of us or a group of us, sometimes 2 people even, it's downhill. So you just push, you transfer from your wheelchair to the kayak.
To the kayak, and then they can drag me down through the sand in the kayak. But up to date, and hopefully here to come, I might be getting a new chair, which would alleviate all that, and be able to actually push down to the sand with the chair by myself. So stay tuned for updates on the new chair coming here soon.
Another very cool thing to do outdoors is at the town called Apaneca. This is located actually at a different department called Ahuachapán, and the most popular thing to do here is zip lining.
And probably coffee plantations.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of coffee plantations in the area too. So
and the one thing I was gonna say is, like, bear in mind that zip lining is also called canopy. I don't know, is that an English word? Or
is that an English word? Or
so yeah, we did zip lining there. It's really beautiful, like she said. We'll give you a link down below to the company that we've gone twice now, and they're really helpful. To be honest, the zip lining you do have to ask for some help if you have mobility issues. So it's kind of cool. They start you off at like the main shop, and then from there they put you in these kind of like, they're little like mini buses, but they're open in the back. It's like a kind of like a pickup in the back with benches, and they drive you up on a road through a coffee plantation to the top of this mountain, and then they have a staging area there. And then kind of from there is where it gets a little bit more difficult, because the stair or the pathway to the first place where you clip in and do your first zip line is actually up quite a steep path, and some of it's stairs. And so I actually had to leave the chair behind. But the tour guide, or they're not tour guides, but the guides for the zip lining, they actually carried me in between the stations as we went and up this first one. So like I said, it's a great company that we've gone through. They're super helpful and super accommodating.
Yeah, super willing to, make it happen for Casey so that he could have the experience just like everybody else was. And the toughest part is the hike up. You gotta hike up because you're ziplining down. We did 13 stations.
Yeah, it's 13 stations, and they get longer as you go too. So it's kind of cool to see that. I mean, they weren't just accommodating just because I was there. Like, I think in general they're quite accommodating to people who have different needs and different mobility things. I was able to use a harness, like a regular harness, like everybody else, but I do know that they have another kind of sling type harness available for those, because when you use the regular harness, you do have to kind of hold yourself steady here, and then you brake with another hand on the line itself. But if you aren't able to do that or not comfortable doing that, they do have like more of a basket type sling that they can sit you in, and it has a different mechanism so that you don't speed up too fast. Or someone, one of the guides will zip line right behind you to keep you under control. And then after you're done ziplining, the little town nearby, Apaneca, is super beautiful. I remember walking the streets there. And they're a little tough because I think there was some cobblestone streets in there. So you kind of got to just play that by ear, and you might need a little help depending on your mobility with pushing across those cobblestones. But it wasn't undoable by any means.
What the cobblestone is, not all of the streets are bad, but there were some that he did not need help, or there were some that we just had to go a block away so that he could get onto the sidewalk.
It's important to stay flexible and not expect to do everything linear or the same way that everybody else is doing. Sometimes you got to stay open-minded, but like I said, it's not an undoable town. Just keep your options open and be okay with kind of the changing situation like that.
Other spots that we really recommend is checking out restaurants by the Volcán de San Salvador. So this is like the San Salvador volcano technically, and there's a lot of restaurants that cater to with different types of food and different types of typical food too. You want to tell them what they do?
One of our favorite ones there is La Pampa Volcán. It was a great restaurant. I've been a couple of times now, I think, and it's so beautiful. So they have outdoor seating that actually is kind of like a deck that's built out over the edge of the kind of cliff a little bit or hill, and great views of the city, Santa Tecla and San Salvador below. I remember one time we went for dinner, so the sun was setting and it's nice and cool up there on the mountains. during that time of night, and great food. Like I remember having steak and stuff up there. It's so good. One of the other things we wanted to talk to you about was actually the markets in not only San Salvador but El Salvador. All across the country, they've got little markets in all the different towns and stuff, and they're such a blast to go through. I've had a lot of fun. Sometimes they can be a little bit challenging accessibility wise, but for the most part, I haven't had too much trouble going through them. A lot of them are on flat and like sometimes in these really big buildings with that are just like brick or cement walls and metal ceilings, and then in stalls that you kind of can push or walk through.
A lot of the things that they sell here is like fruit. And there's food that they're making like pupusas. That's the national typical dish. That's definitely worth
pupusas.
A shot. Yeah, they're like, if you haven't heard of this, we'll put a picture somewhere up here. And
so it's like a thick tortilla, and then they stuff them with different things. So you can get them with like just cheese or cheese and beans, and then my favorite is with cheese and what they call chicharron, which is like
grinded pork.
Fried pork kind of, and they stuff it inside.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So good.
What's the like? It's
Curtido.
like it's like
coleslaw.
It's kind of like Salvadorian coleslaw. It's very, very good.
Yeah, and so one of the really cool things, not just eating them, but actually watching how people make these. You remember how it's like a group of people in the corner, and there's this big pan where they're assembling them.
Yeah, and they make it look easy, but I've tried to make pupusas myself, and it's not that easy because they do it so fast, and they pat it with their hands, and then they fry them up. And like I said, I've tried to do it at home. Or at Andrea's parents' house, and have not been able to do it.
No,
they don't turn out when I do
definitely
it.
a challenge, but worth trying.
Overall, El Salvador is a great, fun, and exciting destination to go to. There are definitely there's some challenges for accessibility down there. Just like you would go in anywhere in the world, beaches are tough, but the locals are super helpful no matter where you go, whether it's at the beach or in a town you need help up a curb or something like that. The locals are always willing to help. The cobblestone, something to keep in mind. If you can put bigger casters on the front of your chair, if you use a chair, and just to keep in mind that like not everything is cobblestone, but overall, I was able to get around and accomplish all the things. And like I said, I think one of the biggest things is that the locals are so helpful with.
Definitely a place that we'll continue to visit because it was my home country anyway. But definitely things and spots that we would recommend doing again, and we would do ourselves again. So we hope you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it because it really supports our channel. And don't forget we post new videos every Wednesday. So, and hit the subscribe button.
Yep. And don't forget to comment down below if you have any questions. And like I said, we'll put those links up as well for the couple different things.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.